have you come a little closer and let's have a conversation. I've been noticing more and more lately that we've been experiencing what's called this mean girl energy. I've been noticing it on the social media, our work environment, our churches, and other environments. And I think it's time for us to have a conversation about it. What's mean girl energy? Mean girl energy is where we are bullying each other, competing with each other, pulling each other down to get ahead of them, and all other kinds of reasons. But we need to talk about that and see what is the root cause of why we can't just form a sisterhood and encourage and inspire each other. So can we have that conversation? Okay, let's do that. My name is Charlotte Jones. I'm the host of The Soul of the Matter, and welcome to another episode. Joining us in this conversation is our co-host, Charlie Bowens.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And also joining us is Stephanie Shields. This is her first time joining The Soul of the Matter.
Welcome.
How you feeling?
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
We're excited to have you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. My name is Stephanie. I am the program coordinator at an organization called The More We Love, which is a program that helps women and children escape homelessness, addiction, domestic violence, and human trafficking. And I'm also a minister at Citadel Church as well. So it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Awesome.
Thank you for
So
having
you're a
me.
minister at the Citadel.
Mhm.
What kind of ministry do you do there?
I serve on the altar ministry and the prayer team as well as with the children.
Oh, I love it. Good for
Yeah.
you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So y'all ready, women? Let's talk about this because this is actually a really serious topic. Wouldn't you guys say?
Yes.
You know, typically I consider myself a girl's girl. Like,
Yes.
I'm all for the girls, right? If they need something, I'm there. If they're going through something, I'm there. I'm there to encourage, to inspire, to help in any way I can. And that's kind of like a sisterhood, right?
Yeah.
And where a sisterhood is where, you know, we come together as women and you know, come against these men. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But we come together and inspire each other, and we're not tearing each other down. I think my daughter and I was having a conversation, and you can expound on this, and I was just like, what is going on with the sisterhood? Because you were telling me about this beef that was going on social media. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, so I was talking to my mom, I don't know, a while ago, and we were just talking about, I'm like, hey, did you see all of this drama going on? And I was kind of telling her how I think it's crazy and it's sad to see the state that women are in, not just in entertainment, but it just had me thinking like, wow, where have we gotten to as women? You know,
Yeah.
and I wanted to bring this up actually because, before we get into it, the beauty of this is when I talked to my mom about it, she was ready to go with the podcast. She was like, oh, this is good, we gotta talk about it.
Because I was already experiencing it. I was already there.
But the
Right.
beauty of it was, I told her, we talked about it, she was ready for the podcast, and then you came.
Yeah.
So I was thinking this morning, like, wow, look what happens when we come together. We're able to create,
Yeah.
and now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. And so tell us about this beef that was going on social media, though.
Ooh, child.
It's been a little messy.
It's been a little
You been
messy.
following it too?
I mean, it's hard not to because it pops up on the algorithm, whether that's what you're following or not.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
It is. And I think that when it was happening, it made it hard to even want to get on social media. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know all the ins and outs. I just know, you know, Cardi B dropped her album, and then her and Nicki Minaj but they've been having problems for a while. So.
Instead of encouraging each other, uplifting each other,
Yeah.
being there for each other, they are fighting each other.
They're in competition with each other.
They're in competition.
Yeah.
They're in competition with each other.
And I was telling you about this beauty brand that I don't know if I want to say the names of them, but there's two different beauty brands, and they're both successful,
Yeah.
and they're doing their thing in their own lane. One caters to a younger audience, and the other one caters more to the older people as far as skincare, hair care,
Yeah.
but body butters and stuff like that. And not only they are not necessarily fighting with each other necessarily, but it's like the audience, the other women are pitting them against each other. Like, well, she sold this many, and she's doing this on TikTok, and she has this. And so why do we do that?
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
Totally unnecessary. I think a lot of it comes down to people just don't know their identity. They don't know their purpose. They don't know their community. Because all of us are not called to the same thing. We're not all called to the same generation. We're not called to the same spheres and spaces, which is why God needs everybody's talent. Because the reality is people you may reach may not be the people that I reached, may not be the people that Charlie reaches.
Right.
And I think the reality of that is that once people know who they are in Christ and they know what Christ has for them, those places of competition just kind of melt away.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of what we're seeing is an unhealed generation that doesn't know how to interact with each other in a healthy manner. So
Don't know how to interact with each other in a healthy manner. So it sounds like then everything is about competition then, you know, or are they, you know, I know they say hurt people, but I don't want to gloss over the fact that you said identity. Knowing who you are.
Yeah.
So if I know who I am and I know who I'm called to and I know that this is my lane, I won't compete with you in your lane.
Right.
We can be selling the same product. We can be doing the same work.
right.
But you are catering to, like you said, the millennials. And I might be, you know, catering to Gen X or whomever.
Right.
You know, so what are some other reasons why us as women are just mean to each other? I know you said identity, hurt women. What were you saying, Charlie?
I just feel like what she was saying, I think it does just come down to, you know, I think a lot of women, it's easy for them to compete with superficial, like what's on the outside. Like, okay, I can go get my hair done better than hers. I can go get my makeup done better than hers. I can, you know, you can fix all this up. But I think where the jealousy and the competition comes from is when there's something about her that you can't grasp or that you can't understand. It's something within her that's bothering you because she did her soul work. You can get all glammed up all day, but you can't compete with a woman who has done her soul work.
Girl,
and I think
how do you guys go like clock in?
And I think that's where the real competition comes from because it's like I can do all of this, but her light I can't get, and that bothers some people.
And you can't bring it down because you keep on rising back up. So that's an insecurity.
It's an insecurity inward. And I think that, I don't want to get too deep into this, but I think that when you do start to do your soul work and you shine, you're personally not shining from a place of, I'm better than you.
Right.
But people who are not healed see your light as, oh, she thinks she's better than me.
Yes.
And that's not what it is. But when two people are healed, they can clap for each other because they have an understanding of, oh, I know what she's doing behind closed doors because I'm there, or I know what that feels like. But when you're not healed, you don't look at it like that. It's immediate competition and jealousy, absolutely.
Well, and I think too, that's such a good point of what's happening behind closed doors.
Right.
Right? Because the reality is that what you present to the world and what you take care of on the inside behind closed doors, a lot of times people are living dual lives. They're striding the fence between purpose in the world or purpose in social media, and what they're presenting is not always the same as the character that they're maintaining at home. And so it creates this duality that comes off false and ingenuine. And the reality is even sinners have discernment. They know when you're fake. They know when you're not being authentic or real, or when you're putting on a front.
I agree.
So I think that when that fear shines through of what you want people to perceive versus the things you're trying to hide that you haven't healed, it becomes very obvious in the relationships and the conversations you're having, the way you present yourself, and it comes to a point where you can't hide those things anymore. They start to be glaringly obvious.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Absolutely.
So that was insecurity. Some other reasons why people do that is jealousy, which stems from insecurity as well.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to mention that, you know, we see this happening not just on social media, but we have it in our jobs. I experienced that on my workplace. It became such a toxic work environment that I decided that I was going to leave. I originally was going to go to this young lady and have a conversation with her. So I went and told someone, hey, I'm gonna have this conversation with her because it seems like she's always trying to undermine me and things to that effect. And they just said, Shirley, no, she just sees something in you. You are an amazing worker. She just sees something in you and she's attacking that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I want to have a conversation with her to let her know that I'm not, we can all shine together. But God never opened up that door for me to have that conversation with her, and so I ended up just leaving. But I think about her, and believe it or not, I still pray for her because she's an awesome worker as well, so she didn't have to come. And she's a younger girl, so I just never understood that. So I just said that to say, this happens not only on social media, but it happens on our workplaces. You know what? And sadly, it even happened in our churches, where women are coming against women, even in our churches. And it's not just the young women. We have people of a particular age still out there, not being an example for the younger generation, but also keeping up the mess right alongside the younger people. So we really need to dig in and do some soul work and really do our heart work so that we can be better for each other.
Yeah. And I want to expound on that point. I think it's kind of, like a thing where people get too comfortable with where they are. Like how she said, it's hard for generations to reach. So if it's in the church, it's older women, right? It's all these older women, and then young women come in, and they have a different energy, they have a different vibe, and that might cause them to rise up. And some people don't want to. You're coming and disrupting what I have going on. You're making me have to grow. You're making me have to question you know what I'm saying? And I think that some people have a problem with that. When you come in, being you, who God designed you to be, and some people who are complacent, that bothers them.
Well, that's good.
Right, we should
that agitation.
Right.
And that's how we should look at it. It's like, instead of putting down somebody that says, okay, I better come on up because, let me get in my word, back in my word or whatever. Instead of attacking this young woman who is coming, looking for the Lord, and stumbling up on you. An unhealed missionary.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think also too what it is, especially in those types of situations, is what we're seeing a lot of is you've got these young girls and these young kids coming up, and they're excited. They want the love of God. They want the presence of God. They want to see the power of God. And then we have churches, especially in the Pacific Northwest, that they are complacent. That's such a good word. Like, they become complacent in their rituals and their habits, and they're not open to seeing that this generation praises God completely different. They have a different interaction with God. They have a different interaction with the world around them, and they do everything at such a fast pace. But the reality is when hearts are open, these young people are literally being set on fire right now. And it's like the ability that the past generation has to steward that. If they would open their minds up and understand that this new generation coming up, they don't want the piety, they want the power. And that holiness doesn't look like, I think, what we've been taught it does. It's not about our skirts being long enough or our blouses being buttoned up to our necks, right? It's not about dressing and looking a certain way, because holiness might walk through the door with facial piercings and tattoos. And
it's an inward job. It has always been an inward job.
Exactly.
We have been so focused on the outward appearance and neglecting the soul of the matter. And that is your soul, your mind, your will, your emotions. That is what's going to that's what is going to encounter the next person, the next woman. The way you think, your perception, the way you behave, the way you treat her. If you are your emotions are all out of whack, you are attacking someone and responding out of your emotions instead of out of wisdom and love, right? And so we need to really focus on the soul. So that when you have an encounter with a younger woman or whomever else in the church, you're responding in a healthy way, and it won't run them off. It won't prevent them from entering into the kingdom, like the Bible says.
And I think also too, what a lot of what I have personally seen is when someone treats us like that, we don't know how to respond. We're so, we get caught up in street mindset, or you're not going to talk to me crazy, or whatever the case may be. But the reality is that we have a choice. Are we going to react or respond to how a woman treats us? And one thing that I learned working with the youth is where they are at 14 is not where they're going to be at 18. And it really started to show me that where a person is in this moment of their pain is not a reflection of who God's called them to be, where they're going to be in 6 months, a year, 5 years. And my responsibility as a minister and a leader is to treat them with how God sees them,
Yes.
not how they're acting in this moment.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And by doing that, like, I've been able to steward those spaces better and understand that by me maintaining my character, it has helped so many youth come to a point as adults and young adults to say, you never treated me or loved me any different, even though I was awful to you. And I was like, of course not, because the reality is in your moment of growth, it didn't have anything to do with the reflection of God's love for you. It had nothing to do with the reflection of who God has called you to be. And as your leader, it's my job to steward those spaces and to steward them well and to still maintain who God created me to be. Because one thing that I've learned, especially working in the shelter work, is your emergency is not my emergency.
Yeah.
Your offense is not my offense, and I don't have to join you in those places. I can still maintain who God created me to be.
Absolutely.
And understand that you're in a moment that's not going to be reflective of your entire life. So that's how I've learned how to deal with it, because the reality is I was falling into those traps too. You're offended and you don't like me, so I don't like you either.
Yeah.
So we're just in this period of being leaders in the church, and we just don't like each other, but for what? God's work can't move forward.
That's a
in
good
that.
point, and I want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. So in my journey, I know that when God puts a light in you,
Yeah.
sometimes you yourself try to you try to dim it. God's like, no, you're gonna shine and walk in it.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid of how people perceive you, or I don't want people to think I'm all this, or I don't want people to think, whatever. And it's just like, God taught me, no, you walk in who I called you to be.
Yeah.
But when you feel a sense of someone feeling some type of way, combat it with love.
Yes.
Don't even question it.
Right.
Why is she acting? We know why.
Right.
You're not healed.
Right.
You may not know God. You don't really know me.
Right.
All you see is she's doing something I'm not doing, and I understand it. So instead of me meeting you with, how are you doing this morning? Your shirt is pretty.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? You know what I mean? Those types
Just
of
continue
things.
to
Like,
treat them with love.
pour her, shower her with love, give her grace, give her dignity. Don't ponder on the whys.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't ponder on the whys, because we already know women compete. We know women are catty. We know when women are. We've been in a place
Right.
before God has called us higher, so we understand it.
Right.
So I don't waste my time trying to figure it out. I just shower women with love, because that's really what we need from each other.
Right.
Honestly, so that's my advice.
Love and support.
Yeah.
I'm a communicator, so that's why I wanted to talk to my coworker. I'm big on, can we have a conversation? I've noticed that you've been blah, 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 or, whatever. Can we talk that through? I'm big on that. What do you guys think?
I'm big on that too, but I think there's a reason why God didn't allow that to happen.
What do you think?
I think that sometimes we gotta let God fight stuff for us.
Yeah.
Pray, Lord, I see something in this person, I don't really know. When I've leaned more into that, I've seen people change, and I didn't even have to say anything to them. I think sometimes confronting people when they may not be in a space to be mature enough to handle the conversation,
Yes.
be ready to be honest about why they're feeling a certain type of way. Everybody can't do that. Everybody's not at that type of capacity to say, you know what, there's just something about you, or whatever the case may be. They might, it could just cause more drama. So I think that sometimes we have to give it to God and let God work on people's hearts.
Yeah, and just pray and love them from a distance.
Yeah.
I think it's important too what you said about that situation is waiting for the door to open. Because if the door's not open, the reality is that heart isn't going to be touched. But if the door opens, I think the beauty of God is it becomes blaringly obvious. And sometimes they'll open the door to themselves. That's what I've been experiencing a lot of, is when something needs to shift. And it's like Charlie said, take it to God. God creates the opportunity to address that thing. And then it can be water under the bridge, and redemption can take place in that relationship.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not always the case.
Because God knows our hearts. He knows, I know what you want, my daughter, but this daughter of mine is not able to receive you in this moment. You know what I mean? And like she said, if that door's open, then healing can begin. God knows. He knows what situations to put us in, and every situation is not for us to come and try to be peacemaker, that's not always our job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people got to deal with their own stuff.
Yeah.
There'll be another test for them down the line where
Yeah.
they may be able to be open to that. So,
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important too that people have to learn how to examine themselves.
yeah.
So how would you tell a woman that's watching today, how do you examine yourself?
I think when you notice a pattern of behavior,
Mm-hmm.
that things are consistently happening in the same way, and it doesn't matter the situation, it doesn't matter what type of, if it's a job, if it's church, if it's your family or whatever, and you start seeing that there is a pattern of behavior that you are consistently going through, I think that's a good indicator that the common denominator might be you.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to face about ourselves sometimes. And
It
it may
is.
not be that you're doing something wrong,
Mhm.
but it just may be that there's a place that God is trying to peel that layer back, prune that area, and take you into a higher place of understanding. And I think it's when you go to God and you say, okay, what's really, what am I missing here? And you open, He is so good to, when you ask, that He's going to answer.
Mhm.
And maybe you're just not asking the right questions. Because yes, everybody you're encountering, they might all have the same issue, but why are we attracting those spaces? Why are we attracting those types of people over and over again? Where does God need to take us higher in
Mhm.
order to get out of that area
Yeah.
that we keep encountering?
I think I'm in a position now where we have to be peacemakers. I think if God is putting you in that, it's because He needs you to be the anchor for the women around you. And even at my job, my
Or the
coworkers-
example, not just the anchor, but the example.
The
Let them
peacemaker,
see
right.
you. Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
And I feel like even at my job, like all this, I'm like, no, you guys need to go in the back office, have a conversation. Because my coworkers, they come to me
Yeah,
and I tell them, go talk to her about it.
yeah.
Or,
Yeah, and I think
or
a
whatever the
boundary
case-
definitely
yeah.
has to be set. I had to do that in my previous position. Somebody came to me and she kept gossiping about her friend when she would get frustrated. I'm like, you really don't want my opinion on this. And I've already told you that if you're not coming to me for a solution, it's gossip, and I don't have time for that.
And that, when you say go talk to them, that is teaching them to have those, number one is cutting up the gossip,
Right.
cutting down
Yeah.
the gossip, right? I'm not gonna sit here and, shoot the breeze with you and talk about this girl that you met at it today.
No.
Tomorrow's gonna be a different thing, and then I'm gonna be awkward.
Right.
It'll
Because
be
now you know
awkward.
things you shouldn't know.
Yeah, so instead you're teaching them, okay, when I have an issue with someone, I'm gonna go and deal with it.
Yeah.
Instead of running their name in the mud to the next
Right.
woman, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's just funny because it's just like that with a lot of the women, and I'm like, well, I'm coming to you because I don't like her. I didn't like her approach, and it's just like, look,
Yeah.
We're all different.
I find myself standing up for them, like, hey, no, she, whatever. But I just feel like if you're in that situation, don't be afraid to be the peacemaker. Especially everywhere I go, I tell people I love God.
Yeah.
What do I look like doing that? And I'm over here gossiping with you or
Yeah.
doing all these things. It's like, no,
Right.
I'm showing, especially, we have to be careful. Everybody don't believe in God. You may be the only example.
Yeah.
Show them.
Mhm.
I am not the same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I told you I believe in God and these are His principles, and we need to show women that.
Yeah, I
How
think
we
that's
act.
important. One thing I tell everybody, listen, it doesn't matter if you believe or not, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you come to me,
You really
You're
have to hold
going to
yourself
get
that
God.
standard. It's-
Yes.
You know, you can fall into gossip. You can fall into,
It's
all of
easy,
that.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's super important too, like you said, that we have to stop dimming our shine. We have to stop being afraid to be in those places, because the reality is when we're put into darkness, it's because of the fact that we do shine. Because it brings a higher standard of living. I think that's super important, is maintaining who we are, who God's created us to be, how we show up, right? How we do our hair is important, how we look, how we dress, how we do our makeup is important, because every single piece of who God has created us to be is to pull those around us up out of the mire,
Yeah.
out of the clay,
Yeah.
and into the light of God. So one thing I had to learn, I went through a season where I did stop wearing makeup to work, where I stopped dressing nicer.
Why?
Because I was, the gossip and the tearing down was so heavy at work that I just wanted to sit in my cubicle and do my job
Aww.
and talk to my clients and just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Because it got so bad. And then it's like there's no point in complaining about the atmosphere, because the reality is in some places production is more important than culture.
Yeah.
And I finally got to a point where my pastor was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "No." She goes, "You know, we don't do that." She goes, and it wasn't a matter of like control, like you have to wear makeup, like, but it's like you show up in a certain place and you show up there the way you show up for a reason. Like, you have an image to maintain, you have a brand to maintain, and that's a brand that God gave you. Like, you know, it's like we have these accolades, right? And I think we get embarrassed sometimes to bring those places forth, but the reality is every place that we have, every good place that we have encountered, it's because God brought us to those places, right? God has given us the things that He's given us and placed them in our lives because those spaces are meant to be an influence to the places that we walk in.
Yeah.
You know?
You had mentioned something earlier about identity, and I think that falls into it as well.
Yeah.
Like, God created me with the way that I look, the way that I talk, the way that I carry myself. It's all for a reason.
Yeah.
And if I change anything about that, I am not going to be who He created me to be.
Exactly.
Because He knows that if I present this way into the world, who needs to see me this way? You know what I mean? Who can say, okay, if Charlotte can do that, then I can walk in my authenticity as well. I can be authentic and just be me. And I say that because the way that I carry the message at church isn't the way that it was carried by other women.
Right.
My voice was not this loud, boisterous voice that I grew up hearing.
Yeah.
And I always felt insecure that people's not going to receive me and listen to me because my voice isn't this, you know. And so I had to learn to just be me. And then as I'm walking in that, I can hear that people are receiving when I do deliver the word, because I'm just being me now. I'm not trying to be anything else. I'm speaking the way He created me to be. I'm dressing the way He created me to dress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my personality is just who I am.
And I wanted to say something really quick on that, because this is my mom. So I've seen her in her beginning stages when she first was speaking. Voice was cracky, very shy, very timid. And if you see this woman speak now, totally different. And I just feel like it's like you have to walk in that. I'm taking up space. I'm taking up room.
Yeah.
You either can come on, girl, or get out the way, because I'm not dimming myself for you. I'm gonna walk in who I am, and if that bothers you, you have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm gonna come with love. I'm going to be respectful to you, and you know what I'm saying. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that, I don't have time. I'm not gonna sit here and ponder on why is
Right. Well, and we've known each other now for what, 12 years? Almost?
Yeah, years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've always appreciated about you is you quietly make space for people. And it doesn't matter what they look like, where they come from, who they are. You always create an atmosphere around you of you can sit here. And I think that's so important.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's the essence of me.
Yeah.
I'm for that underdog. I don't care who. I don't care who you are, because I know the walk that I had to walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that women are walking those walks, and so you can come on. You are somebody.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Hold your head up.
Yeah, hold your head up. And that brought me to this point on here is what causes women to behave this way. And I know we were kind of talking a little bit about that. But one of the ones that stood out to me was hurt by other women so they don't trust women in general.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, like this woman makes me feel like I can sit here, we may not look alike or we may not, whatever the case may be, but she makes me feel safe. And I think that's part of the reason why there's so much division with women.
Yeah.
It's because if we sat with a lot of women like, yeah, this woman, it's always toxic. And time after time after time, because we've had those type of experiences, it's like we have this perceived notion of women that may not be true. because we're not all catty, we're not messy. There are women who can be a safe space. There are women who are, but it's like, before we can even get there, we already start with the mess.
Yeah.
We are dealing with other women. And what are your guys' thoughts on hurt by other women so they don't trust women in general? What are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of it comes down to also is what their relationship with their mother is.
Yeah.
Because if we grow up with an unhealthy relationship with our mother, or the sisters, if we have them, a lot of those behaviors become learned and ingrained. And it's hard to come out of those if you haven't recognized that you even have them yet.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that starts in how you interact with in childhood. Like as a mother, I had to teach Brody, even as a young man, because he was being bullied. And it's like, even as first and second grade, I had to teach him that you don't know what's going on at home with that kid.
That's true.
You don't know what they're experiencing for that to project onto you. And he started to understand from a very young age that people don't trust other people when they're hurt or when they're not safe. And that is such a huge word that you said, that there has to be safety. Mm-hmm. Because if I open up to you and I tell you something out of vulnerability and you tell somebody else, there's a level of betrayal there that that they start to tag those things, and it becomes a list of wrongs done against you.
Yeah.
And then you take that list of wrongs into the next relationship and in the next relationship. Right. And I think it's so important as women that we create safe spaces.
Yes.
Because the reality is not everybody that we encounter is going to be healed. Not everybody has done the soul work. Not everybody has worked on their inner hearts and those places, and learn to even recognize when something comes out of my mouth, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Which means that you have a heart issue to begin with.
Yeah.
Because from the mouth, the heart speaks. And so if our hearts are unhealed and we're saying certain things, we're not creating safe spaces.
Yeah.
We're tearing down our sisters. We're tearing down the women that we're encountering. And safety, I think, is a huge piece of it.
Yeah,
that is for me.
But we need to learn how to be a safe space, one sister at a time.
Yeah.
And so the women that we come across can learn to experience what that looks like, and then continue it on.
Yeah.
But so because you can't save everybody all at the same time. So just one sister at a time, just be that safe space for someone, and let them know what that looks like. You know what I mean? And then hopefully they can carry that on. And so to bring this to a close, I just want to say that, the name of the podcast is called The Soul Doesn't Matter. And I got it from 3 John 3, I believe, where it says, I wish above all that you would prosper and be in health as your soul prosper. Because as you do the work and your soul prosper, the way you think, the way you behave, and getting your emotions under control, every area of your life will prosper. Yeah. The way you treat people will prosper. Yeah. Which means your relationships will prosper. Yes. Because you've done the soul work, right? Your finances will prosper, because if you have a jacked up soul, you're not spending right, because maybe you're spending out of emotion. So once you get those emotions and all that under control. So that's why I love that scripture where it says, if we take the time, sit with ourselves and do our soul work, then every area of your life will prosper. And so as far as ending words to me, and I'm gonna ask that you guys each have some closing remarks for the audience, is women, we need each other. And because I need old women, I need young women, and in between women, I need you. I need you for encouragement and inspiration. I might look at you doing your grind, doing what you're doing, and be like, I better get myself up and get going. Because this sister's doing her thing. Yeah. I don't have to compete with her. I don't have to belittle her, but she can inspire me to be a better me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we need each other. I think the main thing is we need each other. So it behooves us to do our soul work, because somebody needs me. What would be your closing remarks to the audience?
I would say, ask God what the next step is. Where do you need to look inside in order to allow your light to shine the way it's supposed to? Because He's going to tell you about yourself. And it's not going to be in the way that the world tells you. He's going to tell you as a father who loves you, who desires you to do the right things with the right people, in the right places and in the right timing. And if you just ask him, he will absolutely answer you with everything that you need in order for those places to prosper.
Yes.
Mine might be a little wordy-winded because I really want to focus on here seriously, because I don't think that us three are just sitting here just to sit here. I feel like this topic came up, this conversation with my mom, leading to her asking you, leading us to be in here. So women, I really want to say we need each other. We have to stop creating division between each other. It is okay to be in a room with beautiful women, bright women, smart women, women whose skills are different than yours. It's okay to be around women who are a little further than you. And instead of being insecure, take that time and ask her some questions. How did you get to where you are? We all need to clap for each other. And I want to say, even with your mom, a lot of people have mom issues or they're mad at their mom. Your mom is a woman. Okay?
At the end of the day,
She's human. You as a woman know your struggles. And if you're a mom, then you should be able to understand things that your mom went through. Look at her as a woman. Forgive her. Because that helps you to interact with other women.
Yeah.
And forgive them. And I just feel like, remember your journey when you didn't have it all together. So when you see another woman and you understand the energy that she's in, pray for her.
Yes.
Love on her. Because that's really what she's crying out for. She really doesn't want to be in competition with you.
That's good.
She really wants to be where you are. And instead of meeting her with, Lord, I see me in her. Let me love on her. Because that's really what she wants.
that was really good. Thank you, lady. Thank you for coming and being a part of the Soul of the Matter. Hopefully this isn't your last time.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Thank you, Charlie Bones. Yes, and thank you, audience, for listening to the conversation. And women out there, we encourage you to do your soul work and be a safe place for your sister. And until next time, we'll see you